My girlfriend's daughter claimed my property as her own, but I found letters that tell a different story. Hey everyone, I'm Mark, and I'm in a bit of a mess right now. I'm 34, and my girlfriend, Linda, is 38. We've been together for a solid 3 years, and things were going great until recently. Linda has a daughter, Emily, who's 19. I thought we all got along pretty well, but I guess I was wrong. See, Linda's late husband, before he passed, told me he wanted me to have a piece of property he owned. It was a small cabin in the woods where we had shared some good memories. He never got the chance to put it in writing, but Linda knew about his wish and had promised me that she'd make sure I got it. Now, here's where it gets messy. I found out that Emily secretly sold the cabin. I was shocked and felt completely betrayed. When I confronted her, she just shrugged and said it was her right since it was part of her inheritance. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was punched in the gut. I had to talk to Linda about this. After all, she knew what her husband wanted. Linda was torn up when I told her. She didn't know what to do. She loves her daughter, but she also knew that the cabin was supposed to be mine. The tension in the house was unbearable. I started digging through some old boxes, hoping to find something, anything that would prove I was meant to have the cabin. And I did. I found letters from Linda's late husband talking about the cabin and me. It was clear as day. But Emily caught on to what I was doing. She overheard me talking to my buddy about the letters and freaked out. She went straight to her mom and spun this story about how I was planning to dump Linda after I got the cabin. Linda was devastated. I could see it in her eyes, and our relationship hit rock bottom. I wanted to fix things, so I planned a romantic evening to show Linda that I was in this for the long haul, not just for some property. But just as we were starting to reconnect, we got a call from Emily's ex. He spilled the beans on Emily's past, how she had a history of lying and manipulating people. It was like a bomb went off, and suddenly, everything started to make sense. I'm sitting here now, not sure what's going to happen next. I love Linda, but her daughter has driven a wedge between us with her lies. I'm not sure how we can move past this, but I'm going to fight for us. Emily's deceit can't be the end of our story. Update 1. Well, I didn't expect to be making this update so soon, but here we are. So, Linda finally decided to confront Emily about all the shady stuff she's been up to. She asked her straight up about her past actions, and Emily just broke down. She admitted she's made some mistakes but kept insisting that I was the real problem. Can you believe that? After everything she's done, she's still trying to pin it on me. Feeling pretty isolated, I ended up confiding in my close friend about the whole mess. I told him about the letters from Linda's late husband and how I felt like Linda didn't trust me anymore. He gave me some solid advice, telling me to focus on what I can prove, not just what I believe. That got me thinking, and I decided to seek out Linda's late husband's lawyer to get more info about the property. The lawyer confirmed that Linda's late husband did intend for me to have the property, but there was this vague clause in the will that made things complicated. Just my luck, right? When I got back home, Linda was gone. She left a note saying she needed some time alone to think. So now it's just me and Emily in the house, which is as awkward as you'd imagine. And get this, Emily actually tried to seduce me. It was such a twisted move, obviously trying to gain control over the situation. I rejected her, obviously, but she flipped out. She threatened to tell Linda that something did happen between us. I'm feeling totally trapped. If I try to clear my name, I might push Linda further away, but if I don't, Emily's lies could ruin everything. I'm stuck living with a person who's actively trying to sabotage my relationship, and I have no idea how to get out of this without making things worse. So, yeah, that's where things stand. I'm just trying to figure out my next move and hoping Linda comes back soon so we can sort this out. But with Emily around, who knows what she'll try next. Update 2. A lot has happened since my last update, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. Linda finally came back home after taking some time to herself, and I could immediately tell that things were off. The air was thick with tension, and it was like walking on eggshells. I tried to talk to her about everything that happened with Emily while she was away, but Linda was just too overwhelmed. She couldn't process any more information, and I felt helpless watching her struggle with her emotions. Meanwhile, Emily was playing her cards, acting like the victim and claiming that I had been inappropriate towards her. It was a complete fabrication, and it made my blood boil. But what could I do? It was her word against mine, and Linda was already in a fragile state. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, our neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, came over to me when I was getting the mail. She hesitantly told me she had seen Emily trying to seduce me that night. I was shocked but also relieved that someone else knew the truth. I felt a glimmer of hope that maybe I could clear my name with Linda. But before I could even think about how to approach Linda with Mrs. Henderson's story, Emily had another one of her dramatic episodes. She screamed and cried, saying she felt unsafe around me. It was an act, but it worked. Linda, being the protective mother she is, asked me to leave the house for a while. I was devastated but understood that Linda needed space to think without me there. I ended up crashing at my friend's place, feeling a mix of anger and helplessness. I knew the evidence I had was just circumstantial. It was my neighbor's word against Emily's, and who knew if Linda would even believe Mrs. Henderson over her own daughter. Then, as if to twist the knife a little more, I saw on social media that Emily was bragging to her friends about how she had outsmarted me. It was like a punch to the gut. I wanted to scream at her, to expose her lies to everyone, but I knew that wouldn't fix anything. And just when I thought I was at the end of my rope, I got a message from someone claiming to know the truth about Emily's intentions. My heart raced as I read the message. Could this be the break I needed to prove my innocence and save my relationship with Linda? I was desperate for answers, and this person seemed to have them. I'm meeting them tomorrow to find out what they know. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm holding on to hope that this could be the turning point. I just want to clear my name and find a way back to Linda. But for now, I'm just trying to get through the night, wondering what tomorrow will bring. Update 3. I have to get this off my chest because it's been eating me up inside. So, the guy who messaged me? It was Emily's ex-boyfriend, and let me tell you, he had a lot to say. We met up, and he showed me these texts and emails between him and Emily. They were plotting the whole time to cheat me out of the property. It was all there in black and white, her talking about how she was going to sell it and how they'd split the money. I couldn't believe it, but there it was. I was torn up about whether to show Linda the evidence. I knew it would crush her. She's been through so much already, and this would just be another blow. But at the same time, I couldn't let Emily get away with it. It wasn't just about the property anymore, it was about the truth. Meanwhile, Linda was having her own doubts. She missed me, and she was starting to see that maybe she'd been too quick to take Emily's side. And Emily? She was overconfident, already making plans to renovate the property she'd sold. She was acting like she'd won. But then Linda found Emily's renovation plans. She saw how detailed they were, how Emily had been planning this for a while. It didn't add up with the story Emily had told her. Linda was starting to see the inconsistencies, and I could tell she was questioning everything. I decided I had to show Linda the evidence. We met up in secret, and I showed her everything. She was shocked, heartbroken, but she thanked me for being honest with her. We knew we had to confront Emily, but when we went to find her, she was gone. Just like that. She left a note, admitting to her lies, saying she was sorry, but she was gone. Linda and I were left there, just trying to process it all. Emily had left town, and we were left to pick up the pieces. It was a mess, but at least we had the truth. Now we just have to figure out what to do next. Last update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. Linda and I have been trying to pick up the pieces after Emily left. It's been tough, not gonna lie. We've had a lot of long talks, and I mean long, trying to figure out where we stand with each other. We decided to visit the property that started this whole mess, just the two of us, to really talk things out. When we got there, it was kind of surreal, seeing it again after everything that's happened. We ended up meeting the new owners, a couple who seemed nice but were in over their heads. They mentioned they were having money troubles and were thinking about selling the property. Linda and I exchanged a look, like, could this be a sign? We talked it over and thought maybe buying the property could be a fresh start for us. But then, Linda dropped a bomb on me. She admitted she knew all along that her late husband wanted me to have the property. She was just scared of how Emily would react. That hurt, not gonna lie. I felt betrayed all over again, but I got where she was coming from. She was trying to protect her daughter, even if it meant keeping me in the dark. We decided we had to move past it if we were going to make things work. So, we agreed to buy the property together. It felt like a huge step forward for us, like we were finally on the same page. We were actually celebrating our decision when Linda got a call from the bank. They told her there was a large deposit made into her account. Turns out, Emily sold some of her stuff to pay Linda back for the property she sold. It was a nice gesture, but it left us in a weird spot. Should we accept the money after all she put us through? While we were still trying to decide what to do about the money, a letter arrived for me. No return address, nothing to say who it was from. I opened it, and what I read inside was like a punch to the gut. It was a confession from Linda's late husband. He admitted to having an affair and that Emily wasn't Linda's biological daughter. Linda and I just sat there in silence. It felt like the world had stopped spinning. We didn't know what to say or do. It was a lot to take in. I mean, how do you even begin to process something like that? So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. Just shocked and trying to figure out what this means for us and what we should do next.